Welcome to this exciting and cutting-edge course on how to use a no-code solution, sometimes called vibe coding like Replit, to create an autonomous AI agent that goes out and does tasks for you. And then in the second part of the course, you're going to see how to commercialize that optionally. You may just want to use the agent for your own business's needs, but why not, if it's working for you, why not package that up and sell it to other companies who haven't created their own AI agent, don't know how to do it, but you do make your own AI agent without writing any lines of code, 0 lines of code, all through telling the AI in your words what you wanted to build, and it will build you your AI agent that you can then go and resell, all in this course. My name is Alex Ginedinik. I'm a multiple-time best-selling instructor on Udemy with 1 million students, and I'll walk you through in this course exactly how I created my own AI agent and packaged it so you can follow the course step by step. If anything sounds complicated or sophisticated, don't worry. I'll literally show you everything through screen sharing. Click here, click there, do this, don't do that, and you'll end up with your own AI agent that's actually going to work, be autonomous, and be productive for you, save you time in whatever tasks you're doing, and maybe even be commercialized. So welcome, and let's begin. Before we start, I want to spend a minute just setting your expectations for what you're about to get. You see, this course here on YouTube is a part of a paid, bigger course on Udemy, because I couldn't offer everything for free on YouTube because the paid students would get very mad. So I did make sure to add everything to the YouTube version that will help you create an AI agent. So there is enough in this version of the course to be a standalone course so that you can actually create your AI agent within a day or less and be very happy with the results. But if you want more features, if you want to see how to commercialize this more, if you want to see how to add more robust features to your AI agent, first, definitely complete the YouTube version of this course, because you may just have enough, because I did make sure to include a lot. But if you feel like, ooh, I want next steps, then in the resources of this video, I'm going to have a link for how to get that bigger course at a discount. And if you want a even bigger discount, watch until the end, and I'm going to show you actually how to get a bigger discount. So now let's go over our class project. What we're going to build together is an AI agent to promote this website in a manner that's very, very similar that you would use to promote most other businesses, at least as a part of your marketing strategies. And when I create courses and when I create content, I try to show practical, real-world use cases, projects that are realistic, not toy projects. And that's precisely why we're going to use this website as our project, because it's actually something that I'm working on. So what you'll be able to see in the course are detailed insights into how I would actually create such a software, as opposed to if we made a toy project that never had a chance to live in the real world and just was a toy project for the course, we would never get into the real nitty-gritty insights that you would have to think about. So this is a way for me to show you a really practical project with a lot of real-world learnings and takeaways. So first, let me explain what this project is, and then I'm going to explain exactly the AI agent we're going to build for it. So this project is a cryptocurrency project. I realize that some people just mistrust cryptocurrency. Hold that thought for an example. In fact, I'll have a video in the resources of this video explaining this project in more detail. Just give it a chance to see and learn about it before you form a decision. But in any case, this is just an example. You can apply what we're going to do to other kinds of projects. This won't be specific to cryptocurrency, and you'll see why in a second. In any case, it's a cryptocurrency that I made, and it's the first cryptocurrency designed to fund creative projects. Like if you're an author, entrepreneur, artist, all of these have a shared experience that there's usually a lot of financial struggle and stress to create their works. Entrepreneurs, artists, musicians have financial stress, and so this is a project to help them raise money and collect tips through cryptocurrency, which gives a lot of benefits like not having to pay transaction fees and many, many other benefits. Actual real-world benefits that, again, you can learn if you want to by clicking on the video in the resources of this video so that you can get a full explanation of what this project is. But I don't want to get carried away here. I want to just give you the practical aspects. So because this is a project for creative people, I'm going to create an AI agent that does outreach to creative people, but better than that, organizations and schools for creative people like music schools, art schools. Why? Because instead of reaching out to people one by one, which is fine, if I reach out to a music school, well, that music school has 50 students. And if the music school owner is open to this, then I can onboard 50 students at the same time. This is analogous. If you may be doing any kind of sales to small businesses or outreach to any organizations, the kind of AI marketing agent software we'll make here will be incredibly applicable, almost the same that you might be able to use for your situation. Not only that, after we build the AI agent, we'll be able to create a website, a software as a service website, a SaaS business, that sells exactly this agent to other businesses. So in fact, we'll be creating two businesses at the same time. One, a marketing software for our own needs, and two, an ability to sell that software to other companies to use, which is really a cool concept because it's a really, really popular model today, and especially very popular with AI. So that's going to be our project. And now that we've gone over it, let's start building it. With this video, let's begin exploring Replit. When I go to the homepage, it's very clever in how it presents itself because what it looks like here is a prompt. It's an example of a really good AI prompt to make software. And that's what we're going to do with Replit. It enables us to make different kinds of software. There are some limitations that we'll talk about. The limitations are usually in the form of API limitations, third-party limitations, like for example, if Replit doesn't have access to some third-party data or third-party software, it just cannot use that third-party software. So if your software that you wanted to make depends on that third-party, Replit wouldn't be able to do it. But in most other cases, when it's not dependent on a third-party, Replit can do this. Replit can do a lot for you. And before we get started, let me walk you through the pricing so that you understand how to think about this software. You do get a forever free plan. The problem is it's only for exploring Replit to see how it really feels and looks like. So most people on day one, they are going to get the free plan. In fact, when I started playing around with it, even though I had all the intentions to pay in the end, I was pretty sure I was going to end up paying because I needed more robust functionality. I still sign up for free just to see. So in the beginning, everybody signs up for the free plan. You get to play around with it. It's great. Ultimately, most single person entrepreneurs end up using the Replit core. $20 a month if it's billed annually. If it's not billed annually, it's a little more per month. I actually pay $25 per month because I have the choice of just paying monthly, which probably I'm going to end up just getting a whole year's subscription. And so it will end up being $20 a month for me as well. And if you have a team, like if you want a freelancer or two, or an employee at your company, or multiple employees at your company to in parallel be making some software for you, then the Teams plan is also really cheap. Like this pricing for the amazing things that this software does, I feel like it could be 10 times more and people still wouldn't bat an eye because it just does so much for you. And of course, if you are part of some enterprise, they have enterprise packages for you, but most people will settle on just $20 a month. Now keep that $20 a month in perspective. If you hired a software engineer to do this, not only it might take a month or two for them to complete this work, but it would cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And if you wanted more, like an agency, it would cost tens of thousands of dollars. That's the level of difference. And here it's $25 a month. It's an insane difference. And if you need to make any edits, it's additional little bit of labor here and there. So right away, you can see that this saves you a tremendous amount. So what you would do to join is either sign up for free or join Replit Core. You can sign up for free. By the way, if you'd like to, whenever anyone joins Replit, they get a referral link. It's in my account here, so you can see under my account area, I went under referrals and they have this thing. I can copy the link. And if you sign up through my link, both of us will actually get a $10 credit. So I believe instead of the $25 per month, you'll only have to pay $15. And I'll have this link in the resources of this video, so you can click this link and sign up. You don't have to sign up with this link. You can just sign up on your own. It's just an option, but this will save you $10. So what you would do is, instead of typing in Replit, you would just paste this URL, and I'll have this URL in the resources of this video. So you can go to the resources of this video, click this URL. This is only if you want to. You don't really have to. In any case, if you go through this link, you see it says here you're signing up using Alex Gennadinek's referral link. Once you subscribe to Replit Core, that means if you ever pay, you'll both get an extra $10 of credits. So what you would do is, in my case, I used Google, and it just went through the sign up steps, create an account. This is a test account. I already actually made an account. So you would just click on continue. Here you would fill out some details about you. My name, it's for work, continue. Then what kind of work would you do? I'm a teacher. Position of the company, let's say executive. Maybe team member, individual competitor, since the actual Alex that was my main account was already that. Click continue. Then you can choose whichever option you want. You can start for free. That's the most natural thing to start with, is the free account. So let's say you would start with the starter pack. In your case, you would click on the starter pack. In case you don't click on the starter pack, what you would see if you continue with Core, it will just ask you to pay. So you fill out your credit card details, which we're not going to do here, obviously. And this is for the annual subscription, but you can also choose monthly. So I'm going to back out of this. And so instead of signing up for the paid plan, which I already have with another account, here I signed up with a free plan, and it gave me a little bit of a tutorial of how to use Replit, and it brought me to this kind of a screen where I just type in input. So essentially you are ready to use Replit. So in the next video, I'm going to show you some of the basics for how to use Replit, because in order to use it, you have to understand a little bit about prompt engineering and also a little bit about how it works and its limitations. So let's continue with those topics in the next video. Now let me introduce you to the prompt that we're going to give to the Replit AI, so that from the first time it can approximate and build exactly as close to what we need as possible, because it's never going to build exactly what we need from the first time, but we want it to get as close as possible so that we don't have to make too many edits. But we, of course, always will have to make some edits to what it makes, just not a frustrating amount. So let's read the prompt that I created for it. It needs to know what to build. So we say create an AI agent, not a website, not an app, an AI agent that does this workflow. And I outlined it. So let's read the first part of it. The AI agent asks for input from the user, what kind of businesses the user wants to find and in which geographic area, and the size of the radius, like 1 mile from the specified area, 10 miles, 100 miles. The second part of this is finds all such businesses and collects email and contact information online about those businesses. Number 3 is sends an email pitch to them that the AI agent will collect as input from the user, meaning you give it the pitch and it finds businesses and just sends it out. Of course, you'll probably use AI to help you craft the pitch, but that'll be a little bit separate. Or at least the personalization of the pitch writing may be a phase 2 for this agent. In any case, number 4 is after it sends out those emails, the AI agent gives the owner or user the option to reply to anyone. And I'm kind of editing these as I go just because I see little flaws and I want to make it a little clearer. So here's number 4. The AI agent gives the user the option to reply to anyone who answers the initial email within a specified amount of time, let's say like 24 hours or 1 hour. And if the owner, let's say if the user, does not reply in a specified amount of time, then the AI replies instead. So let's say you're on vacation or you're just busy, but you think it would be really helpful if users all get replies within an hour. Then if you cannot reply within an hour, then the AI will reply for you. Maybe not as good, but faster than you can. And hopefully later on, as it learns more about your business, maybe even better that you can. Then number 5, keep track of the emails and businesses which have already been contacted and track email dates and whether the business has replied. This is for the purpose of following up to people who haven't replied. 6, note, use the ChatGPT model because it can use a lot of models like Anthropic, other models, so that's just something to specify.
It's a minor detail. Usually it uses ChatGPT as a default. And then another note, the user should be able to interact with the agent through the web interface. In other words, we need Replit to create a web interface for all this so that the user, us, can give various inputs to the AI agent. So let's take this. I'm going to copy all of this, Control-C, and then we're going to go to Replit and start an entirely brand new project. So here I am at the home screen of Replit. So I'm going to create an app, create app, and I'm going to call it in a very descriptive, direct way, AI Marketing Outreach Agent. I'm going to start the chat. And then it asks me all these questions, most of which I already answered in the prompt that I prepared. Some of which I'll get to as we go along, like integration requirements. Obviously, I have to connect my email client that sends emails. Channels, right now, we're doing email, but we could add Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. So for the most part, our prompt will already address this. So I want to show you how to find it. So when you go to home, under apps, you'll always have this one. This is the latest one. It's 1 minute ago. AI Marketing Buddy. We can edit it and we can call it what we want it, AI Marketing Outreach Agent. We'll save it. We'll click on it. And this is where we're going to paste our prompt. So in the next video coming up, let's press enter and look at the initial output of this prompt. Now we've gotten to the really exciting part of pressing go in Replit to execute on our prompt. So let's press go and watch it work a little bit. Now, of course, it's going to do a lot of work because it has to create a lot of software for us. So you can see a little bit about how it's going to work. Like it says, I'll create a plan for your agent for the comprehensive workflow. Then it starts working a little bit. As you can see on the bottom, it says it's still working. Now it's designing the visual preview. So it's really just working as though it was an engineer, but like an engineer will take a lot of time to do this. Like you have to open one piece of software to start designing, open another piece of software, how to start designing. Here they're writing code already, you see, and they're literally creating the web interface for it on the fly. Like it didn't exist seconds ago, now it's existing. It's creating inputs for me, the type of business to find, geographic area, just like I asked it in the prompt. So it's still designing the visual preview. It's going to design for a while because it's building something complicated and robust. When it's done, I'm going to fast forward to that moment and we'll resume the next steps. So after a little while, it says ready to build, approve the plan when you're ready. And I like the plan. It looks good. As you can see, it built out everything. So the input form, it even has an email composer that you can use, a generated email template that you can edit. It's going to show you stats, etc. This is just a preview. So yeah, let's say approve plan and start. So we're going to click that button. And as you can see here, it says working. So we're going to let it work. And again, I'll fast forward to the moment when it completes that job. So we'll look at what it did. Just very quickly, so you get an appreciation for what it's doing. It's actually writing code right here on the left side, creating server/database file, schema file, storage. So it's literally creating a database for you, a web interface, like a whole real entire web application that years ago would take teams to make at a company. Here it's doing that in seconds. Now for a second, Replit stopped at a good stopping point. Let me explain what's happening. First of all, I got a little alert. We created a database for you, manage it here. So let's actually say got it and look at the database. If you want to explore your database, you can see all the tables. If you're not a database nerd or not an engineer, this might be hard to understand, but databases are usually made in tables with data, and the tables kind of interact. Like one table will be about a business information. Another table will be about users, just to collect your user information. So it basically, we created a set of tables. There's no data at the moment, naturally, because we haven't created any data. And if you have no interest in the database, you just want it to work, you don't have to look at the database. You can go back and just work with the agent here. So you can always go to, instead of my data, you can say preview here. And then I want to explain, don't worry about the message on the right side of the screen. It doesn't matter for now. The reason it says it crashed is that it didn't really crash. What's really happening is that it got to the point of the application creation process where it needs some information from me. Here's what it wrote. To make your AI-powered marketing outreach agent work properly, we need two important API keys. What are API keys, in case you're not sure? Well, it's basically my account to make calls to, like, you see, it says here OpenAI, that's for ChatGPT, and one for SendGrid, that's the email client that we're going to need to use for outreach. Now, for sure, you're going to need an email client, and you may need the OpenAI, but you may not need it, because if you craft the email pitches and the replies on your own manually or through the command line of ChatGPT, you may not need that API key because it does cost money to use the API sometimes. So you can skip that step, but SendGrid is something you could bypass. There are workarounds, but they're not that great. The workaround is you can send emails from your own personal email, like your own email client that maybe you have. If you have a website like mywebsite.com, you can send from hello@mywebsite.com. But one good thing about SendGrid is that it specializes in sending many emails, and it also specializes in not getting your emails stuck in the junk folder, which if you're doing sales and all your emails are going into the junk folder, that's pretty bad. So in the next video, let's explore the option of using SendGrid, because that one we will need. Again, you can work around it, but generally speaking, it's something that would be recommended here. With this video, let's set up our SendGrid account, because even though there are ways to do it for free, like using your actual email that you have with your company, you can send through that by connecting your SMTP. For small applications, you can get away with that for free. But if the agent we're building is going to specialize in outreach and sending email, it will really stifle the project if our emails don't get sent the right way, or if we want to send not one or two or three emails, but thousands. We can't afford to have our emails end up in the spam filter. So we need to use a professional service for sending emails. So that's why we're going to do this. Let's look at pricing first of all, so there's no sticker shock. The good news is there is a free trial, a very, very generous one for 60 days. So if you're testing and building, this is perfect, because you're going to send 100 emails a day. It's enough for testing. Maybe not a great option. You might want a little bit more, but still the Essentials package, where you can send 100,000 emails a month, that's only $20 a month. So it's pretty affordable. So it's not bad, but we can start for free. So it's not a problem to test it out for 60 days. If we don't like it, we can switch to a different option, but let's start here. Start for free. You go through the basic sign-up process. And by the way, I don't have any relationship with this company. We're just using it because it's a reputable service. We'll enter our account information, or you can click on sign up with Google. It's always easy to just sign up with Google. Click your name, say yes. Then it asks you to set up your two-factor authentication for security. We'll do that. So you enter the phone number. Then they're going to send you a code through SMS. You're going to enter that code. Then click verify. Then they give you a recovery code. You want to save that, and then click continue. But make sure you save this somewhere safe that you can access it. So click continue. And your account is set up. Now, if you go back to your Replit account, you see it was asking us for the SendGrid API key. And in SendGrid, under settings, you have something called API keys. You're going to create a key. For now, we'll give it a full access. We're also going to give it a name, AI Marketing Agent Key. And then we're going to click Create and View. So it created the key. And then it says, please copy the key and save it somewhere safe. For security reasons, we cannot show it to you again. Okay, so you make sure you copy this. Copied. You save it somewhere safe. And you enter it here as well. For now, I'm going to skip the OpenAI API key. So I'm going to tell Replit that we're not going to set up OpenAI just now. First, let's focus on getting SendGrid right. So I'll ask it to just configure the SendGrid API key here. That's what I wrote. And then skip the OpenAI and press enter. It starts working. Then it shows you all these little steps that it did. It configured the SendGrid API key. Tells you what the working features are now, like a business discovery. Like if you tell it to search for businesses, it will find it for you. Email template generation. Then features about campaign management, automation settings, etc. So it tells you what's ready for testing, like searching for things, etc. Next steps, it says configure your OpenAI API key. We'll do that soon, but before we do that, let's go back to SendGrid for a little bit and fix some things because we're not quite done here. You see it says here, before sending your first email, you'll need to create a sender identity. So let's click on this link, create a sender identity. And as you can see, they explain what you have to do. When you send emails, like it's going to say sent from so-and-so, you haven't set that yet. So we have to set that. Namely, we have to set the from field in your email address. So let's click on create sender identity. I'm just going to fill out as though it's me. So from Alex, again, Dinik, email address. I'm going to give it an email, alex@sprktoken.com. Now the sprktoken.com, I have that available. It's already live. I don't have this email address yet. So put a pin in that. We'll come back to this. Reply to, you can say alex@sprktoken.com or a different one. For now, we can keep this. Company address is arbitrary. You just enter whatever is appropriate for you. And then this nickname, that's something that's for internal use for your own organization. That's not going to be seen by clients. So you say create. So it says it has created a sender and we'll say close. So now we've set up your sender account. And of course, we're going to be working with this more as we use the agent more. But for now, this completes our SendGrid setup. Now, just one thing, you can check what variables and API keys have been set up by going on top here to this little plus, and it's going to give you a bunch of different options for things you can do with Replit. The one that's called secrets is the area that holds all of your configurations and API keys. That's the one you click on and choose. Now, it's actually good that we checked because I thought I had the key configured, but you see, nothing here says SendGrid API key because I thought Replit configured it automatically for me, but it didn't. In case it doesn't, that's why it's good to check. So you'll click on new secret. You're going to enter the key. Every time the key is shown on the screen, I'm just going to blur it out. But in your case, you'll enter it. And then you want to add this value to it, SendGrid API key. You paste it into the key area and you say add secret. So now we've set up our SendGrid API key and SendGrid account, and we connected our AI agent to be able to email people from our account. And then we actually tested all this to make sure that indeed our SendGrid API key is set. So now that it is set, we can move on to working on the rest of the application. In this video, we're going to do something unique. In most videos, I try to make some progress in developing this application, but actually, this is not real life. The real life of a developer, a traditional developer, and these days a no-code developer where you just tell AI what to do, you still have frustrating moments where things don't work as they're supposed to work, maybe just for different reasons. If you're a traditional developer, the reasons were you made a mistake or some oversight or a bug. With AI, the reasons for errors is that, let's say you tell it, build a feature. There are like 50 different ways it can build that feature using different third-party tools, etc. Unless you specify every detail exactly, which is really hard to do. It's impossible in most cases because you don't even know how it's going to misunderstand you. Like you might specify some details, but who knows what you omitted. In any case, what I want to show you is the frustrating experience that you have to go through. Do not get stumped here. So here is our application. For example, I'll show you how it works very minimally. Like I'll say a new campaign and I'll say I want to find a restaurant in New York within 10 miles. I'll tell it find businesses and it's going to search a little bit and it's going to find some businesses like New York Pizza Company, Tony's Italian Restaurant, local bistro, whatever, right? And it's supposed to have some details. Now, if I click on these details, I just clicked it. I don't see any details. Maybe the details are below. I don't see them. So that's a bug, which is fixable. It's fine. That's an easy thing to fix. You just ask Replit to make sure that when people click view details, it actually goes somewhere. And even though that's an easy to fix bug, it's really representative of the kind of issues you might encounter. Because even to get here, on the left side, I'm going to scroll up, and walk you through all the different elements in the conversation that I had with it so that you understand the level of frustration and the level of bugs that it made that I had to undo. So for example, you see after we configured the SendGrid key, my hope was that I could just use it in a way that I just showed you, like search for businesses and find it. But it wasn't working that way at all. I was literally just using this form, pressing find businesses, and it wouldn't find anything. And I was like, why not? Well, it turned out that to save on programming time, because initially we were just kind of spitballing, it didn't actually build the functionality to go and search the web for exactly what I searched. It actually hard-coded some test values into the database. That's what I asked it about here. You see, when I said, when I search for any business name, it finds nothing. Why is that? And you see it says it populated business searches with additional listings. Like this is the database internally, just for having test values. But I didn't want that. What I was trying to test is, does it go out to the web and crawl? You see, it told me it added more mock data. And I said, why do you have mock data? Like I didn't even foresee or think that it would add mock data, because a tool like this is supposed to go out and search the web. So I said, I need the agent to be able to search the web and scrape the results for real data. Scrape means like go to Google, search whatever search I tell it, like restaurant in New York, see all the results that come up. And by scrape, it means download the HTML and extract the contact information and business name and present me that information so I can decide, do I want to send them an email pitch? So scrape basically refers to going out and getting real information on the web. Then it gave me this long answer, and it tried to integrate with Perplexity, which is another AI tool. And it did all this stuff, and I thought, well, why would you even need Perplexity for this? Because you can just go to Google and search the web and scrape it. It's pretty easy. And actually it told me, yeah, you're right to question that. I can implement web scraping directly without needing Perplexity. And it made that. Okay, this is where we are. Then I had other bugs. This worked, but then I only got 3 search results when I searched for restaurants in New York. Why is that? And so basically you have to work with it a little bit, test it. Work with it a little bit, test it. Question it also, because sometimes it takes liberties that for one reason or another it thinks is good, but that's because it doesn't know your preferences, your tastes, your ideas for how this should work. For example, like in my case, I want to build things as simply as possible. So I wouldn't think to connect to Perplexity, but this tool thinks like a geeky engineer. Oh yeah, let's connect to Perplexity. That would be cool. And I don't want cool. I want, can I make it work with a simple feature or simple setup? If I cannot make it work with a simple setup, okay, then what are my options for more complex, more technical setups? But first, you always want to examine the simple method. Does it work? Because if it works, why would you make it complicated? And especially if you don't have a lot of experience building software, you want to keep things simple. Overcomplicating things is not a great idea. And in any case, this is the kind of minutia that all of us have to deal with when we use no-code solutions. The progress is slower than you'd like. There's still progress that's way faster than if you were an engineer, because building this is not easy. If you've never built software like this before as an engineer, you have to go figure out how to do this, how to do that, look it up on Google, how to do that, look up documentation. It's a very frustrating environment full of bugs. It takes a lot of time. This is way better, but it's not perfect. And many people who've never written code or created software, they expect more ease and more perfection. And that's why I made this video, just to set your expectation and show you the iterative process of how you are supposed to test and perfect the software you're building over many, many little increments rather than one big boom and it's done. Now, after so many more very, very tedious little edits here and there, I want to show you where I got this application to where it's in a early beta stage as a standalone software that can collect emails and send them out. So let me just walk you through the basic functionality here. For example, let's say you want to start a new campaign. So you go to the new campaign tab. You can search for businesses, for example, like a restaurant in New York within a certain radius, and it's going to find you those businesses, and you can compose an email to them. You can compose an email, you can generate an email template, and it's going to show you the generated email you wrote, and you can save that. So these are the basic steps to build a campaign. Once you build one, you have these campaigns here that you can reference. For example, the Spark Music School pitch for music schools. When I click it, it's going to let me test it. That's very important. You want to test it in a way that it sends one email to your email so that you can receive that email and see, is this pitch good? Are there some problems with it? And fix the problem. So once you test it and you select businesses, like I didn't select any businesses here from that list, so it doesn't let me launch campaign. But once I select businesses, it can let me launch campaign and start working. Now, also, you don't want to keep writing the email templates from scratch. So you're going to go under email templates. There are ways, you see, to reference templates. One of them I wrote, one of them I had ChatGPT write for me. And then once you start sending emails, you can get a little bit of analytics, like what's happening. These are dummy analytics, but you'll get something like that. How many you sent, how many were opened, etc. And then there's also the follow-up schedule, like when to send the follow-up email. I didn't show you how I built all of these features because it literally took me hours and hours of asking it, make this thing, no, make this thing, no, make this thing. Okay, I didn't like that thing, change it. And so it would have been not really that educational and very tedious and incredibly boring to watch. So I kind of just got to a good stopping point and just showing you and walking you through what I got it to. Now, the reason this is a good stopping point is once you have one use case created and you like that use case and you don't see too many bugs, what you want to do is add this automation. That's the part of it. That's the agent, because you don't want it to just run once and be done. That's not an agent. That's traditional software. An agent is where you tell it, do this for 30 minutes or do this until you run through the entire country and then stop. So just work on a task until you're totally done. That's the automation. So in the next video, let's look specifically at the automation part of it, the agent. Now let's create an account with Perplexity.ai. There are a couple of reasons we're going to use Perplexity. The first is that it has real-time ability to search on the web, which we're going to need to find businesses on the web. And that ability is coupled with strong reasoning. As opposed to ChatGPT, it has good reasoning, it has good creativity, but ChatGPT isn't strong at real-time web search, at least not yet. And obviously, as irony would have it, whatever I say, this tool is strong in this tool is strong in that. The level of innovation in this industry is breakneck speed. So I might say something today, tomorrow that might be true anymore. But for today, for our needs, Perplexity AI is great. And to sign up for it is very easy. Here I am logged out, and you can already begin using it by asking questions. Obviously, we're not going to ask it questions now. That's not what we need it for now. We need to use the API. So to use the API, just continue with creating a free account. You can use the API with the free account. So let's click on continue with Google. This is just to sign up. You're going to get a sign up window. You're going to say, sign me up. It's going to ask you for standard permissions. You're going to say continue. This is a test account. I already actually have one, but this is just a test account. Then it's going to give you the option plans. Obviously, in the beginning, you're going to choose for free. And if you need more robust plans, you're going to pay later. But for now, for most people, it will just be free. You're going to give it a phone number to log in. There's an option for the mobile app. You may or may not want that. We're going to use the API in this case, so we don't need that. You just press continue and just get to the place where you've completed your account setup. Now, let me show you what happens once you have your account set up. It's going to look pretty much the same, except on the bottom left, you'll have your own account. What we're going to need here is under account, there's a very, very tiny pull down. And under this very, very tiny pull down, you go to all settings. And under all settings on the left, you see the option for the API. This is what we need. Now they're going to ask you some things about yourself. What did you have for breakfast? What's your favorite color? No, just kidding. They're actually just going to ask you business information. API group name, it sounds very confusing, but that's just your business name. This is what they're going to use for their billing in case they ever bill you. But don't worry, you get some free use of the API. So they're not going to bill you just yet, but you should fill this out accurately. If you don't have a business, just use your name, by the way. That's totally fine. Same with your address. This address is not publicly displayed. I'm going to blur out my address because why do you want it? Do you want to come over? And probably not. So once you're done with that, you click save. You can enter your payment details. You should not be billed unless you go over some API usage limits, but they'll prompt you when that happens. So it shouldn't be a surprise, but this is just for them to have on file. Once you're done filling out your payment details, press done. Of course, I blurred it out. And just for reference, the Sonar Pro is the ideal model that you would have access to because that's their flagship model with advanced search capabilities and comprehensive answers. Also, the Sonar Small/Medium, that's good for simpler queries and basic information retrieval. So it's still good, but Sonar Pro is ideal, or we should say the most robust. Of course, for your needs, once you start querying whatever model you use, if the results are good enough, they're good enough. If no, you might want a more robust model. And you can see that the Sonar Deep Search is the one you have access to, so that's good. And also keep an eye out for this Sonar Reasoning and Sonar Reasoning Pro. Just remember these names for now. We're not at the point of using them yet, but it's good to be aware of what you need to get. Once you've completed the sign-up process and entered your payment information, you'll be able to click on the bottom left here, API keys. Now, you do not pay for the key itself. The key is free to generate. What you pay for is the API usage, which is the number of requests or the amount of data you process with that key. So if you get a message like, cannot create API key with no credit, please buy more credits. That means that Perplexity requires you to have a positive credit balance or an active subscription with included credits before you can generate an API key. If you still get a message that says you need to buy credits, you can go to API billing, buy more credits. The cheapest you can buy credits for is $3. So I'll say buy now. Are you sure you want to buy credits? Yes. So now I have credits and I'll go to API keys. Sometimes there's a glitch. If it says that you need to get credits, sometimes there's a glitch. So just kind of refresh and go back to your account and then click on all these things like API keys, and then it will say create key. And it will just create a key for you. So sometimes I did experience that glitch. If you have that glitch, that might fix it. If you don't have that glitch, you might go to API billing. And as you can see, I also paid the $3. It's not a big pay. It's fine. $3 today is like $0. So whatever. So I'll click on API keys and then I'm going to copy that. And then the moment we'll be waiting for, I'm going to paste that into my Replit. And so now we're in Replit and we're going to configure our Perplexity API key. And to do that, as you know, we'll go to secrets, and under secrets, we're going to add our API key. But you'll ask, well, what is the variable, the name of the item that is supposed to be? Is it Perplexity API key or API for Perplexity? Like, what's the name that it expects? And so if you have confusion about that, look what I did. I said, I want to set up my Perplexity API key. I just got it. It said, perfect. Let me set up your Perplexity API key first, then fix the error, blah, blah, blah. And here it told me the syntax, you see? So now I know exactly what my API key is. So I'm going to go and add a new secret. I'm going to paste the actual key in the value field, and then I'm just going to copy so there's no errors. Just copy and paste here, Perplexity API key. And then I'm going to click add secret, like super secret. So now we'll be able to get away from the idea of web scraping, which honestly is the most basic implementation. Like if I was programming this myself without AI, it will be the easiest to think up design-wise so I can create my MVP, minimum viable product. But in this case, this way will be less error prone and more automated and more fully using AI, which is, it's like, hello, we're in the AI era, like let's not use dinosaur level solutions. So I think it's good. Now we've set up our Perplexity, configured it. So now our software that we're creating is that much more robust. So we'll be able to test it out in the next video. So now we've come to a very exciting juncture in our journey to building our AI agent software, and that is to test our automation. Now, before I test it, I guarantee you there will be some bugs, but you just want to keep getting further and keep getting to new bugs to solve. So let's see what happens. We'll click on under the tabs here, you'll see automation. So we'll click on automation if you haven't yet. Then you'll click on create automation. So we'll create our automation. We'll call it exactly this, SPRK token outreach. Target business type, music schools, any geographic area, search radius, 5 miles, max emails per day. It's a small test, so we're just going to do 2. Email template, we'll choose from one we chose. Here we see the importance of descriptive names, because hopefully from this drop down, you can recognize which template you want to use, so you don't have to go back and check which one is this exactly, which one is this one, which one is that one. So make sure it's clearly named when you name it. Use that. Total email limit, we'll just say 2 because we just want to see if it does one and then the other. Because if it does one and then the other, okay, then we can run a bigger test. But for now, we don't need a bigger test. We just don't even know if it's going to be able to do 2. And then how long it's supposed to run, we're going to say this is in minutes. We're going to say 1 minute. Again, long term, we want it to run longer, but for now, we'll just choose 1 minute and we'll say create automation. What we want is to see, does it send emails? So we'll say create automation. So it created this automation, and now I have the option to run it now. So we'll click run now, run completed, send 0 emails, 0 failed. Why? So this is where you go and you ask Replit, hey, what happened? So I wrote this question to Replit. I set up the automation and set the number of emails to be sent to 2, but I got a message that said automation run completed, send 0 emails, 0 failed. We'll ask it, see what it says. It does a little bit of debugging, a little bit of looking at the logs that it has, and maybe it'll find an error that it has. See, Perplexity gave it a 400 error. Problem with the API request. It says API key exists, but there's an error with the Perplexity request. Let me debug the API call to quickly see. It's checking whether it can consistently make API calls to Perplexity, or it was down, or whatever happened. Found the issue here. The model name is incorrect. Also internally, the API key was set to use one model in Perplexity, but Replit was using a different model. So hopefully it fixed that now. Then it's checking which models are actually available. Ultimately, we'll have a preference, but for now, just about any will do to just get it to work. So it looked up some information online, got the right model names, edited the settings for using the right model names. Okay, fixed it. It looks like now it's working correctly. Okay, you see, we got an error. By we, I mean Replit did 99% of the work. Let's say 99.999% of the work. I just sat here and thanked my lucky stars, because when I was a software engineer, if I had to debug this kind of thing manually myself, it would take me, I don't know, a long time, because I used to hate doing things like this, looking up documentation here, there. It was perhaps the most hated and most tedious part of all the software engineering that I did, is working with API, getting to know this third-party software quirks. I hated this. So whenever it does this for me, I sit back and think, wow, it's so much better, so much better. So anyway, now that we're here, let's try this automation again. I wish it would save our automation. So we need to tell that actually. So actually, while we're doing this, let me ask you to create a feature. Very important. When I set up an automation, can you make an option to save it or save it by default so that I don't have to start each time from scratch? This is an important feature, because otherwise it's very annoying to use. So I could have done this behind the scenes because it's tedious, but it's important if you're new to creating software, especially if you're not a software engineer in the past. You may not know the process, and you might not have that sixth sense for which features to build, what's possible. So that's why sometimes it's good to walk you through it, not through all the things I ever ask it, because it would just be incredibly tedious, but just of how I think about this and how I approach it, and which features are important and which features are not. Because as you can see, it's building things for me when I ask it, but it's impossible to ask for everything ahead of time, because I never know what it will oversee, what it will think of better than me. So I have to ask you to build something, see how it builds it, test it out, and then see, is this going to work for what I'm planning to create? So that's really the step. It's kind of a slow march forward rather than the dream of one time, boom, and it's done and complete, especially for more or less complex use cases. So I just fast forwarded to when the application completed its coding, because it did have to build a lot of extra new features. So it said created a whole database table for saving automations. So that's like a whole feature set that it created. Updated automation system to use the database storage instead of memory. Fixed campaign duration for whatever minutes. Okay, that's a previous feature I asked it. Fixed perplexity model. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff with, correct sonar model. That's what we want actually. And automations now save automatically. Perfect. So now we can, finally test it. So we're going to go to automation, click on create automation, fill this out from scratch. We have everything set up here. And if you're wondering, when do I get to save this automation? I'm wondering the same thing, because it built something, but we haven't fully seen how it's going to work. But hopefully it's going to give us a chance to save it now after you click create automation. So we're going to create it. You see error. It actually did that because you see It's still working here as it shows on the left side. So just want to be careful and be mindful of it. Just wait until it stops working and then do the tests you need to do. So it just fixed that error, supposedly. It says here it took 2 minutes of coding internally, and it changed 137 lines of code in different things like API, related code, database, etc. Like it really did like a day's worth of work that an engineer would take. So let's see what happens. So we're going to have to do this automations again. So under automation, you see at least it saved the automation. Fantastic. I don't have to retype everything from scratch, and we're going to say run now. It's running. I should see a confirmation message that it's running, but you also saw that it had 0 emails sent, which is weird. But at least we're getting further, right? It's saving automations now, which does mean that the database part of this works. So let me get this working, and then we'll resume in the next video and look at what's next. So it took about an hour, but I've built out an entire suite of features and fixed the automation feature as well. So I'm going to show you how it works now. When I click on the automation tabs, as you can see, I have this automation saved. And when I run this automation, it runs smoothly now. And what it does is after it completes, I can go to analytics, and under analytics, it shows me everything that's happened and every time I ran the automation. So I can go under campaigns and I can look by timestamp. So I know whenever I started one, I can know what happens. And then it shows me the emails that it actually sent and to whom. See these 2 emails that it sent. And I can see, not on this screen, actually, I should add to show the emails, but it shows it here in under sent emails. It shows me which emails it used to send things to. And also there's a follow-up section. Right now there's no follow-ups because usually follows up in like 3 days or something. I haven't really built out that, but it also has the reports, like everything it's done, which is really cool. And also, in addition to the analytics tab, in the tabs around the top, there's a contact management tab where it lists all the businesses it's found so far. And it has a website, phone number, email, and status. Like if it's new, I haven't built out this column of status now completely, but it's going to list like, has it been contacted before through the software? Has it not? And so the idea is it's going to also do the follow-up emails and replies as well. And there's also a feature to make sure that it doesn't send duplicate emails. Like if I run an automation, like, hey, send things to the Los Angeles area. Well, it's going to find the same businesses. So it's important that it doesn't send an email to the same business many times and sends it one business per certain schedule, like one day, then maybe I follow up 3 days later, maybe I follow up 4 days later, maybe after that, no more. So this way you can see what this tool is doing and monitor the emails that it's sent. Once you create your AI agent that's working, you can just use it. But in addition to that, you can put it up as a live business for somebody else to use and pay you money for that. So you could just use it out of your test environment that you have here, or you could make a web app for yourself or for your business or to get clients so they could use it as well. So here's what I asked Replit. Can you create this kind of a website to be launched on a free Replit domain? Because what you want to do is first launch this on like a free test domain. That's the next step. And then once everything's working, you put it on a real domain if you want, if that's a part of your business strategy. If you have no ambitions for that, obviously you wouldn't do it. But if you wanted to put up a website and a business and charge people for it, well, this would be the process. So I said here, let's call it outreachagent.replit.com. So this format, yourbrand.replit.com, is a free domain name you can have on Replit. So you pick the first part before the first dot, like abc.replit.com or whatever you want, .replit.com, as long as it hasn't been taken by other people. And then I directed it. The website should have pricing competitive within this kind of a SaaS business and a login. And when people make a new account, all the campaigns and automations should be specific to them and only their account. And they should not see, I meant to say data, I said date, from any other account, just like in any SaaS business. And so it made this, automate your business outreach, etc., AI-powered business outreach. And so once you browse through the website it made for you and you're ready to launch it, you want to deploy. So I'll go to the top right and I'll click on deploy to save money on processing, because this will be just for testing purposes. You want to have as little computational power as possible. Then you're going to say approve and configure build settings. Looks fine. And say deploy. Then it's going to do some work to deploy this. You can monitor this green bar here. When all these things turn green, you'll be deployed. So you got first part, second part, working on the third part of the process. Then it gives a report, production, Alex deployed, domain. For some reason, it put this on this domain. So let's go there. Strangely, it's not the domain I specified, but whatever, we have a free website. Again, it's just for testing, so it's fine. And as you can see, it's just the first step. Like for example, if I click sign in, it's going to give me some errors. Not all features are built out, but that's really easy. All you do is go back to Replit and you tell it, hey, when people click on login, why doesn't it work? And then Replit will fix it. And then the next thing won't work and then Replit will fix it. You get the idea. We've been through that sort of a cycle already many times. But it will just take you about 30 minutes to an hour to create a basic working website that you can then test. If it's all working, then you put it on a live website, and then you can begin selling it the very same day. Once you're happy with your live environment and you want to launch your live website, the first step you need is to get a domain name, because obviously every site needs a domain name, and you want to have a nice brandable domain name because it really does make a first impression. And so today, you go to ChatGPT and ask it to give you a bunch of ideas for domain names. In the past, you might have sat around with your friends and coworkers or somebody and brainstorm for days. But here, ChatGPT will give you a bunch of ideas that are available, good domain names within minutes. So that's what I did actually. And that's what I recommend you to do, at least as a first step. If you don't find anything here that you like, you can go with your friends and family and brainstorm. But this is usually great and all you need. So let's look at what I asked it. I said, what would be a good domain name for a SaaS business, that software as a service, that does email outreach? And it gave me some ideas like outreach flow, inbox bridge, all of them. Let's say inbox bridge. I didn't actually like this one, so I didn't test it. But let's say we go to a domain name checker. I'm going to show you a kind of a mainstream one, which is not the best one, but it's one that I use for ease of use. GoDaddy. It's just pretty easy. A lot of these checkers are easy. Some people are suspicious, like they're going to steal your domain if it's good. Maybe. I've never had that happen. It's a rarity. In any case, let's look at this one, Inbox Bridge. We're going to search domain names, and you'll see it's taken. If you see anything like this, don't even bother with it. Just move on to the next one. But I didn't even like it anyway. You see it says there's a broker fee. You might get it, $99. You should not pay more than like $10. So what you want to do is go through a few of them and see, like obviously this outreach pilot will not only be not available, but also expensive. So you might see some things like this, like for the best domains, obviously, right? Like you want to pay. So this says 99. Sometimes it gives you like $10,000 or something. So you don't want to do that. And honestly, these are kind of very bland looking, to be honest. So I asked it something else. It gave me other ideas like mail. I don't even know how to pronounce these. I didn't like them for that reason. And then SEO optimized ones, that's an outdated idea anyway. So I asked it something like, what would be a fun and quirky name? Because today, a lot of domain names, they have to sound personable and not scary and not scammy and just fun. And, why not have fun? Fun is fun. And also fun adds a little trust if it's done the right way. So it gave me some ideas. Some of these, I went through it. I liked some, I didn't like some. And then I liked Snappy Send, but it was taken, as you can see, and I asked it for more ideas. And anyway, I went through just a few of these kinds of iterations, and I got a domain name that I liked, breezysend.com. Simple enough, cute enough, fun enough, not long, not too specific, maybe a little specific with the send idea, but I like breezy. It's not bad. So I went to GoDaddy, and after I searched for this domain, obviously if I search for it now, it will say it's taken because I bought it. But let's say you make a domain name like this that nobody has, and you search domain names and it says, okay, it's available. Make it yours. You can click on make it yours and just buy it. That part is pretty simple. Do not buy any add-ons because GoDaddy, they're not the best. There's a lot of things that you don't want to do with them. You don't want to make a website through them. We're just buying a domain name for the ease of use. There are slightly cheaper places, although when it comes to domain names, it's all cheap because it's just, like around $10 or $20 per year, depending. Sometimes they give you a good deal for the first year. You're thinking you're getting a great deal, but then they kind of double the price in the second year. But whatever, still doubling the price from $10 to $21, like it says here, it's not a big deal. And you can buy a 3-year package to kind of bring the average down. But again, it's not like a 3 or 4 figure purchase. It's like, pretty cheap. So ultimately, not a huge deal either way. But certainly you don't want to be hosting websites on GoDaddy because they are pretty horrible with that. I've seen some real horror stories. In any case, we're not doing that. We're just buying the domain. And the issue you're going to run into is like once you buy the domain, you have to transfer the domain. So when people type the domain, abc, whatever you bought.com, it has to go to whatever you made on Replit, that test URL. So in the next video, I'm going to actually show you how to connect the domain that you purchase to Replit. So that then, whatever your web application is, and people go there online, not through your test URL, but through that breezy send URL, the one that's professional and is going to represent your brand, that's going to render your website where people can actually make a purchase. So in the next video, let's set that up technically. So now we've come to another exciting juncture, which is after you've bought your domain name, you have to connect your domain name to your website that you're building on Replit. And that is exciting, but it can be confusing because at times it's a little cryptic. Like if you've never done this, or even if you've done this once, like I do this every rare once in a while, like when I get a new website, which is, maybe once every couple of years, sometimes I do it twice a year, just depending on the projects I have. I always forget the steps because the steps are tedious and boring and confusing, which you'll see here, but don't worry, I'm going to walk you through it step by step and make it super simple. The very first step to make it simple is to simply ask for instructions from Replit. This is what you ask it. I bought a domain name, breezysend.com, to host the service on. What do I need to do to set up the hosting so that this page, that's the test URL, points to the new domain name? And it gives me all these steps. Super easy. Just got to follow them. For example, there's option A that they recommend, and there's option B. The easiest way that I find is actually if you scroll down and follow these steps. For example, in Replit, go to your project, which we already did, do deploy, which we already did, then look for custom domains. So you have here domains, and we're going to click add a domain. Notice this is under deployments, then domains. So we're going to add both versions, the version like this, and then a version with the www. One is just like that. You click next, and you see it gives you some information. This is the information that you add to GoDaddy. So here's the example. So on GoDaddy, we have this breezysend.com website. Right now, there's nothing on it. This is like a test dummy website that says basic design, says launching soon. This is what you get when you have nothing. And so we want whatever we have on Replit to show up. So the way we do this is, it's confusing, but I'll walk you through it. So when you go to your home page, your home screen on GoDaddy, you will see Breezy Send here. This is one of the products you have. You'll click it. It will take you to something like this. After that, you're going to go to domain. After you click on domain, you go to DNS, and you'll see all these under type here, A, NS, CNAME. If you're new to this, and even if you're not so new to this, it's confusing. But what you'll notice is that all these at Replit tells you what it is. You see, this is what you put in the at record. Type A, hostname at, copy that. Don't rewrite it, just copy it. And so you'll say under type A at, see, type A at, you will click edit, and you will enter the IP address. Click save. Great. Now you go back to Replit. Now the other text at, and you copy this value. So you're going to find text at. If you don't see it, look for more items, and then you'll see it, right? Text at. This looks like an email. So you edit this one that's not the email, and you give it this value. You paste that in there, save. Now in Replit, you say link domain, and you're good. Now, that's only the version without the www. So you do the same exact thing, like link domain. You might want to copy this just in case, but you go www. So that's so that when people type breezysend.com, or whether they type www.breezysend.com, so that your website renders. Because it would be pretty clunky if you didn't notice that in the beginning, and then people went to one of the versions you didn't set up, and then be like, well, your website isn't rendered. That's weird. So you got to do both of these. So you click next on that, and you've already set up this information. So you click link domain, and it's going to be saying verifying. Now, number 3 here, it says wait for DNS propagation. DNS changes can take 1 to 48 hours to propagate worldwide. On this website, you can tell the progress of your propagation, whether all the servers across the world that are going to help to bring your website up no matter where people search from, or actually enter your domain name that it renders for them. So that URL here is whatsmydns.net. What's my DNS? And then you type your domain name, Breezy Send, make sure it's on A records, and then search. And obviously we just did this, so nothing is set up here. You just wait a little bit, like 30 minutes or 1 hour, and it should start showing, when you redo this search, it should start showing some green marks here on this map. If you don't get any green marks, like in an hour, in 2, in 3, 4, 5, 6, probably by that time, most of them will already be propagated, so there was some bug or error. But for now, you can leave this, go take a break, and just come back in a little bit of time, recheck this, and see if everything was fine. If everything is fine and everything's getting green and some checks are red, that's okay. It just takes more time for some of the checks or crosses here. But if nothing's changing, then we'll have to debug this. But hopefully everything will change to green soon, and then your website will actually render at breezysend.com. So yes, it's confusing, but you see, potentially it's that easy. So just a small update. In about 1 or 2 hours, I went to breezysend.com, and as you can see, I was able to pull up this website that I built. This is a replica of the test environment that I have that now renders on breezysend.com. So I'm done. I can start promoting it now. You also want to test it. Like, does it also go to www.breezysend? It does. Good test. Another test is on Replit. You'll see this little area that you set up in your URL. In the beginning, it says pending or something like that, and it has kind of a yellow or orange little circle. Automatically, whenever it's ready, it's going to say verified. So that means it's working. And then you'll go to that website for checking your DNS, what's my DNS.net, and search here. And you'll see that around many of the places in the world, I'm getting green check marks, and the red check marks are still propagating. You want to give it 24 hours before you panic, like, why some of the red check marks, the red crosses are not turning green? Oh my God. Don't panic, okay? It's just going to be slowly at times, but these are good signs. And if you still don't get them all green at like 24 hours, that's not the best sign, but before you totally panic, give it a few extra hours and then panic. If at that point you still get some red crosses, you may want to contact the GoDaddy support and have them help you to see if you've set some variables incorrectly in that DNS editing area of your website. But it should be fine. This is already the second website that I did this for in Replit and GoDaddy, and this is a relatively smooth process. The main place where people do make mistakes is some variable is just not set somewhere, so you got to figure out what you were supposed to set, what you did set, look it over, and then usually that fixes things. But that's the update. Good news. Now you have an agent, you have a website for that agent, and that website can be commercialized now, because now you can drive traffic to it and promote it so people can buy the ability to sign up for your agent and use it and pay you money for it. So now you can fully commercialize your AI agent. If you work hard at it, you could spin up your own agent like that and a website for it in about a day, maybe 2 days if you want to make a lot of edits. But it could be certainly in under 1 day, because the honest truth is it's not like you're going to be getting clients your first day, because it's kind of hard to get clients. So you can start promoting your website as you're still building it out. And if people find bugs, you can say, okay, sorry about that, we're still in beta. That's the usual startup excuse. Well, we're still in beta. But in any case, you're ready to go. But the main focus is now twofold. One is on your marketing for your commercialized agent business, but also to perfect your agent software so that it can actually work very well for you, for your own use cases. And that means it's going to work well for other people who buy your software. So you have to get the quality of your AI agent to be continuously improving. Don't settle on it's pretty good. Keep testing, keep testing, keep testing. There's always bugs, there's always use cases, there's always better usability. And over time, you'll get it to a point where it will be great and commercially viable.
Now, one very quick note. If you want to use this software, this agent that we're building in this course, you can do that. If you think it's going to help you actually promote your business better and help you with your own outreach, you can use this software. Simply message me. You can email me at alex.gnedinik@gmail.com. I'll have that up on the screen. And I'll also post my email in the resources of this video. I haven't figured out the pricing entirely because this is also new. I'm just building it. It's early days. I don't know exactly when you'll see this, but when I'm filming this, I just launched it. So a lot of things are up in the air, and probably the tool is way evolved past the point of where you're watching this course. I've probably had a chance to evolve the tool quite a bit. I'm launching this this video is getting launched around July 10th or so. So if you're watching it a lot later, this tool is going to be way more robust and mature. So if you'd like to use it, simply email me and we can figure out the terms. If you're a viewer of this, I already appreciate you, so I'm happy to work with you on discounts, etc. I won't price gouge you. I'll be happy that you're interested in the software, I promise. So email me, I'll reply, and we'll take it from there.
So this completes the YouTube version of this course, which is an abbreviated version of this course with the full version of this course on Udemy. Now, I don't know when you're going to watch this, but I'm launching the YouTube version of this, the small version, a little bit before I launch the big version on Udemy. I plan to launch the big version of this course on Udemy around July 14th or 15th of 2025 and to keep updating it. And because of the nature of YouTube, this particular video that you watched, over time will get a little bit more outdated just because I am not able to update videos after I launch them on YouTube, just because of the nature of how YouTube works. But the live Udemy course, that's going to be continuously updated with the latest and greatest features and with more robust capabilities for the agent. So if you'd like to take the bigger course, I'll have the link to that course with a discount coupon in the resources of this video whenever that course gets launched. And if that coupon doesn't work, you can always email me at alex.gnedinik@gmail.com. I'll also have my email in the resources of this video, so you can easily find it and email me. So if that coupon code doesn't work that's in the resources, I'll send you a whole new coupon code that's going to make it $9.99 on Udemy, which is already a great price. But there's also a way that I can reduce the price for you to just $2 if you use my cryptocurrency. And by the way, the Udemy course will have more features about specifically the agent and specifically the back and forth email replies and carrying through the full sales process until the point of sale and having AI do just about all that work. And of course, more features, but that's the core feature that's missing from the YouTube course, or at least covered in a light way, that's covered in depth and in detail in the bigger course. And if you'd like to take the bigger course, there is a way to get an extra discount to reduce it to just $2 if you use the cryptocurrency token that I created. So let me tell you a little bit about my cryptocurrency token that I created so that there's no confusion. This is my cryptocurrency, the Spark token. It's a cryptocurrency that I made for creative people like entrepreneurs, musicians, artists, authors, because that's been my life. I've been an entrepreneur and creator for the last 20 years, and I really feel for this community because I know how hard it is to struggle financially while working on fulfilling your dreams. I've been there, I've been through the struggle, so this token is specifically made to help entrepreneurs and creators raise money through cryptocurrency. And I only recently launched this project, so I'm trying to get a little bit of activity on the trading of this token, which is why I'm able to offer such a discount. And to be honest, all you have to do is just invest. You don't even have to pay me the dollar. You can just keep the whatever amount of cryptocurrency you buy for yourself, and hopefully it grows for you because I'm trying to grow the price of this cryptocurrency token. So hopefully any amount of it you get will grow in value and will become a good investment for you. Now, I realize many people are very skeptical about cryptocurrency, like what is this? Is this a scam? You can read more about it on SPRK token. There's a bunch of explanations for it. The easiest way to learn about it is through a video that I made that shows you the exact benefits of this token and then walks you through how to actually buy it. And I'll have the link to that video in the resources of this video, so you can click on that link and watch this video so you can understand the inner workings of this coin and the strategy behind it, because it does have real-world benefits and applications. And of course, if you want to take more than one course from me for just $1 each, that's fine. All you have to do is just invest $2 or $3, and then you can choose any courses that you want from my course list for such an incredibly discounted price. So again, take a look at this video on YouTube to understand more about this token, and I hope to see you in that next course that's really ideal for your learning trajectory. And the way to get access to these additional courses is once you buy the cryptocurrency token, just send me a private message, let me know that you bought it, and I'll send you a link that makes access free on Udemy to that next course. So it's very easy to get access to those courses, especially if you enjoy learning from me. Then I love having you in my courses. And I hope my courses bring you a lot of value.